Welcome back to another episode of the Property Management Success Podcast. We've got Mark Brower here on the Property Management Aid Station. He is working hard to get sponsored by Liquid Death. How's that going?
Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag still not sponsored. All right, let's jump into it. So you
Let's
and I
do it.
just came back from, what are you, your
Two
two-fisted
sizes. All right,
drinking?
we're jumping into it. Go ahead.
All right. So you and I just came back from the Strategic PM Summit put on by Rent Scale. A lot of great people there, a lot of great presenters, and then you and I as well. And yes, there it is. There's the workbook that they gave. I don't know how many pages that was, but that was a pretty significant handout. Not a lot of, I mean, how many pages did I get? I gave 278 pages or something like that for ours.
What are you
Uh,
talking about? Significant handout. King of significant handouts. By
yeah.
the way, I was on a call. I think you were on too earlier this week. A meeting, maybe a content creation meeting, and somebody had a massive three-ring binder in the background. I think his name was Rob, and it had the term Onyx on it. And I'm like, looks familiar. How the
Yeah.
heck did he get that back on the plane in his luggage? Because I couldn't fit it in.
Well,
Like I was going to break the weight requirements for my bags.
yeah. Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, I had an arrangement with the airlines that I would get a portion of the upcharge
No, you
on
didn't.
the overweight on the baggage. So anyway, so you and I just came back. We both have. It's funny. We both have our strategic PM summit handout hanging right here on
Yeah,
here.
it was awesome.
It looks like 68 to 71 pages. 71 pages of handouts. So it was really good. I have a list of a few of my favorite takeaways from it, but I want to start with you, Mr. Idea Man. What were some of the takeaways that you had?
All right, so here's a crazy idea. Don't implement this, but it's just take it as a thought exercise. One of the guys that spoke to us last week is named John DeJulius. Actually, really impacted me, really positive. Like I took tons of notes on his presentation.
I think he was one of the best. I think he was. I mean, everybody was great, but I think he was a highlight for me too.
Yes, I heard he was like the second best. Yeah.
Well, you and I both presented, so it was one of the two of us had to take first place.
No, no, no. He was phenomenal. He was
Yeah.
awesome, and by the way, he showed an amazing video montage, training video. Totally inspired me. I actually just kicked it off to my marketing manager, and I said, "Hey, check out this video that shows he owns hair salons in Ohio, and he really understands what his ideal client profile, who they are, and why they're coming to the salon, and he was like so particular. It was like 32 to 55-year old working female, and you got a bunch of young women in their 20s delivering the service in this business where like how could they possibly relate with this other ICP. And so to bridge that gap, because their standard haircut in his market's like $30, he said they charge like 150. So love that they're going really deep with value. They understand their value, and in order to drive that value, bridge that gap, to have the employees understand this customer journey, this customer experience, he created this really impactful video. I was looking over at Tony Klein during this video. Tears were streaming down his cheeks, and it was all about. The music was very moving. It went through different slides that talked about different parts of these women's lives, and that they were coming here to be, and they were wanted to get the best part of their day, the best experience of their day, and how important that was, and how they were loving themselves so that they could love other people more in their lives. It was just really moving to me, and I was totally inspired by it. So I want to create a video that's emotionally moving, that shows how we are, that helps us understand like what it's like to be a renter, what it's like to be living in a home that you don't own, what it's how that place can still be home, how it can be a sacred space, how it can, you can still have life's most important memories there, and also what it means to be a ma and pa landlord. These are not super wealthy, like whatever you want to, broad brush stroke somebody as like rich, whatever that means to you. Like these are people that like their whole lives is saved up and they have one extra house, and and it's a really important part of their retirement, and they want to leave a legacy, and this is part of their legacy building. And we've got two groups of people that are building legacy just at different points in their journey and how their stories kind of weave together. And I just got really inspired. I'm going to try to create a video
I
about
think
that.
the way that they kicked that off is he was in one of the salons, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically he was in one of the salons and he overheard somebody say, "Hey, is my 4:30 here yet? Is my 4:30 appointment here yet?" And that person is not a 4:30 appointment. And the way that applies to our business is it's not the tenant that lives at 123 Main Street, or it's not the owner that owns 123 Main Street. These are people that have lives just as full and complicated as ours. And he wanted to get across the fact that these are not just time slots. These are not just a ledger or an account in our software. This is somebody that has a full life. And so some of the things that they talked about is the person that's sitting down in the chair, she may have just lost her partner a week ago, or she's trying to get a promotion at work and she's really nervous about it and she wants to look her best for it, or her child just went off to college and she's got a lot of emotions over that. And it was really, really impactful to show these are people that they were serving. And I think sometimes in the property management business, we can get tied up into they're not real people. These are just problems. These are just maintenance tickets that we're dealing with. We're not dealing with maintenance tickets. We're dealing with problems that people who live in the properties that we provide housing for, it's a true deep issue for them. Even if we've dealt with that 5 times this week, it might be the first time they've ever dealt with it living in a home on their own. And
Yeah.
so I thought it was really impactful, a very, very good training tool for our teams.
Can I see, like, anybody that's listening to this on audio may not appreciate this, but can I take like 1 minute and show? I recreated the video to
Mm,
show it to my marketing manager. Can I see if I can share this? All right, here we go.
okay.
You're broken down and tired. You're living life on the merry-go-round. And you can't find a fighter. But I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Ooh, mountains. We gon' walk it out and mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up,
All
in
right. I think that's,
spite of
I
the
think you get
ache.
a pretty good
I'll rise
taste of
up.
that. The
Yeah.
audio is starting to fade. So,
Okay.
so if you are listening to this through the audio version, go to our YouTube channel for Onyx or Property Management Success, and you'll be able to see the clip that Mark just showed. But Mark, if you could just really quick, maybe highlight a couple of those people that were in that video that we just watched. I
Well,
mentioned a few, but
yeah, one of them was you gotta cut it out if I cry. One of it was like there was a lady sitting on the ground at one part of the video, and she was like on her computer, and it said, thinking about going on a date for the first time after being recently divorced. There was another part where it was like it showed a woman, and she was like obviously kind of concerned or stressed, and she was trying to figure out what to do with her aging parents. There was a guy sitting behind a computer with a smile on his face where he was launching his own business for the first time, and it was like, this is like these are the things going on in these people's lives, and then they walk through the door at a salon and you like have no idea like the depth and the texture and the context of, you know, everything that goes into making this person them, all their fears, hopes, dreams, like concerns, stressors, dysfunctions, like challenges, you know, all these things are all beautiful, complex pieces of what makes them, you know, one of a kind. And then you have an opportunity to add, you know, some positivity, some light, some encouragement, some love to their day by performing an important service. And, you know, that's a salon setting, but, you know, we have the same honor, sacred honor and privilege in the property management industry every single day.
Every single one of those people that went to that salon lives somewhere. So if they don't own their own home, they're living in somebody's home, that rental home. And one of the ones that was the most impactful for me in that video was the woman, and I don't remember, I don't have the numbers exactly right, but she was just coming off like a 12-hour shift in the emergency room. She's dressed in scrubs, sitting down. You could just see she's exhausted. And, you know, those people are coming into the salon, they're coming into our business. They get home after a 12-hour shift working in the emergency room. Maybe they lose a patient, or some surgery doesn't go as well as planned, or whatever it is. They're full of stress. They come home and the faucet's dripping and they can't get it to quit dripping, and they put in a maintenance request and we ignore it for 3 or 4 days. I mean, just think about what they've already gone through, and we have the ability to turn their day around, or just to continue to make it crappy. And I think it was a great reminder for us, and I'm really excited to see the video when you get that done. I think we should play that and post it on the channel when you get that done.
Yeah, that's a project. It's not our most immediate project, and I want to get it right. So targeting end of September for that. Somebody hold me accountable if we haven't posted it yet and you're listening to this after September.
All right. So that was one of the great presenters. Anything else from John?
There was a lot. I made a lot of notes. Very inspired by him, but no, that was the main takeaway from him. I have another crazy idea. That wasn't the crazy idea, but like, go ahead. What you're going to talk about next, and then if we have time, I'll share this other crazy idea. No,
Okay.
It was from John. No. This is relevant. Okay, you just
All right.
asked if there's anything else.
Okay.
One thing that kind of blew me away is at his salon, they said, "Well, here's what this service costs, but pay us what you think is fair."
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Who does that? Like here's what our price was. You just experienced your service, but pay us what you think is fair. Wow. So the person could pay 0 and walk out the door. I'm sure that never happens, but they can adjust it up and down. And that to me was really inspiring, really powerful. And I thought, I was racking my brain. I was sitting right next to Tony Klein, and so there was like some really good energy vibes, like intelligence coming off to my right, and I was trying to absorb that and turn that into like, how do I apply this idea in property management? So here's a really audacious idea. People are gonna be like, no, that's a terrible idea. What if we charge residents a monthly administrative fee? It's somewhat typical in my market to do that, and
this isn't theoretical, by the way. You actually do this right now.
I actually do this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what if every month, when we communicate with residents, we give them the option of like, they get an email with a blank and it says, "Hey, we're here to deliver exceptional value and meet and exceed your expectations and make home a special place. In your lease agreement, you agreed to pay X, admin fee monthly. But if you'd like to adjust that up or down based on the service we delivered, please input that amount in this box. And if you don't do this, it'll just be the normal charge." Like, how crazy would that be? Like what kind of one of the challenges, and we could do the same thing for owners. Like, hey, this was your management fee that we agreed to, but based on the service you're getting from us, like here's your opportunity to adjust that up or down. Like, what would we learn? Now, if I did that, if I actually wanted to roll that out, I would not roll it out to the entire portfolio all at once. I would be terrified, because that's a huge potential revenue swing. But here's something fascinating to me and why I'm like, would be super intrigued to try this out, maybe on a limited basis. It is difficult to get people to pay attention to surveys, to actually get meaningful feedback from people, right? What a really powerful way of getting feedback, because people would have the option of adjusting how much they pay you. Are you kidding me? That's incredible. And and what if we made it a requirement that if they did adjust that dollar figure monthly, or in any particular month, they had to provide feedback as to why. Now, would that be a catalyst for really powerful feedback loops that could accelerate the improvement of our service and drive meaningful difference? Like John Roberts Studios salons did it, and I'm not sure, I can hear the naysayers in my head already. Well, that's a salon, you can't do that. Of course that's a high touch service. Whatever,
Sure.
okay.
Turns out
Go ahead.
we actually do have some naysayers. So maybe we'll cover that in the next episode. But um, no, I think it totally applies here. I mean, think about if you allowed them to adjust and somebody adjusts it even down to zero on your management fee for this month, or they adjust it by 50 or $100. Think about what would you pay to get $50? I mean, what would you pay to get true authentic feedback about the services you provide from one of your clients? And
Uh,
what could they tell you that you could correct? I mean, I would spend 50, 100, $200
yes,
all day long to
yes,
get the feedback to then incrementally improve my business
yes.
across the entire portfolio.
And look, we could put parameters. You could put a fence around this. Like you could say, like, okay, my average management fee is maybe two. I'm just throwing out random numbers. This is not real. I'm not violating antitrust laws here. Let's say my average management fee was $200 a month. What if up to $50 of that was discretionary, either way, either down $50 or up an extra $50? And what if they decided to give extra, and in the comments, if they mentioned an employee's name, all of that extra goes 100% to that employee? How
Hmm.
cool would that be? I think there's a way of rolling this out. You can tell from the passion in my voice. I think this is a fantastic idea. I think there's a way of rolling this out in a way that that mitigates your downside risk. You could do it. You could do it in a smaller portion of your overall portfolio. You could put parameters on it, like you can't reduce it all the way down to zero. Also, the maximum number of down adjustments is one a quarter, for instance. So someone just doesn't hammer you month after month after for the same issue. Like, I think there's a way of rolling this out in a way that could provide really powerful feedback. And also, last year I had this podcast I did with Peter Lohman, where he talked about I use this analogy where it's like toxic gas filling up a balloon, right? And we don't understand sometimes how frustrated people get, and this balloon is expanding. And the idea at the time that I presented was, like, if we can get to them early and often, we can it's a little pressure relief valve where some of that toxic gas deflates that balloon. One of the problems in our industry is that the 1-star review on Google is the escalation path.
Mm-hmm.
What if they had an escalation path every month that had a meaningful monetary impact for them, and that got the leaders of the company, the management, senior management, the owner of the company, me in this case, that feedback directly? So they felt like, hey, I got my feedback in. I got actually paid for my feedback. I didn't have to go to Google. That's a win all the way around.
I would change a couple of things that you said. And I know you're the idea man. You come up with all of these ideas that are against conventional wisdom, and some of them are huge payoffs and brilliant ideas. And some of them we just wait 5 or 10 minutes and you come up with an idea to replace it. So we don't need to dig deep. I actually think this one is one of those ones that we should dig deep on. And I would not actually limit the number of down uh, adjustments they can make, because if they down adjust 3 months in a row, they're probably pretty unhappy with our services and we probably need to part ways. And so that's the feedback, that they're probably making my team miserable. My team's probably making them miserable. And if we can't fix it over 90 days, it's probably just time to part ways and move on. Both of us move on to something that's going to bring more peace to both of us. So I would think that if you roll this out, allowing them to not have a limit, one per quarter, not to have a limit, not go down to zero, take it to zero. But then we're going to have a conversation about why it went to zero and how we can fix it. And if we can't fix it in 2 or 3 months, then we probably can't fix it. Thank you for your business. I've enjoyed working with you. Have a nice day. Best of luck to you.
Bars.
Yeah. I'm spitting fire, right? That's
no,
what that means.
Here's what bars means.
All right,
My
bring it to me.
20-year-old taught this to me.
All right.
Like if you say something that rhymes,
Yeah.
they say bars because that's like like bars in a music ledger. And so you said if you can't fix it in 90 days, it's time to part ways.
I was in a group. I was in high school. I was in a group called the Plain White Rappers, and it just sometimes it just comes out. Sometimes I just happen to rhyme, and
spitting bars. That's what they call it. Good job, Tony.
All right. Okay. One more thing that he said, and then I want to move on to another presenter there. But one of the other things that he talked about was a salon opened up. You had mentioned that they were priced at 3-4 times the normal haircut for their market. And they had somebody move into their space and hung a sign on the door, and it said, we do $10 haircuts, or we give $10 haircuts, something like that. And their whole staff freaked out because, well, oh my gosh, we gotta lower our price. We have to compete on price. We got to be able to beat them. And instead of panicking and lowering the price, do you remember what he did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna let me have the thunder, or I'll kick it back to you. What did they do,
no.
Tony?
Okay, so if you remember, go ahead and but you got to spit it in bars, I guess.
They hung a different sign and everything was fine. That's the bars.
Oh, boom.
Yeah, boom.
Yeah.
Just mic drop. So they hung a sign in the window that said, "We fix $10 haircuts."
Yeah, and I think that's brilliant, because a lot of times in property management, we look around to see what the going rates are in our marketplace. And we're like, well, those guys obviously researched what they needed to charge, so we should just charge what they charge, but a little bit less so that we can be competitive. And yet it's just like in an ultra, when you go out at the start line, everybody's looking around to see what everybody else is doing. And so everybody else goes out too fast, and you're trying to keep up with the person next to you because you think they know what they're doing, and they're looking at the person next to them thinking that they know what they're doing. And so nobody knows what they're doing. And so instead of following the trend, they just said, yeah, we don't do $10 haircuts. We fix $10 haircuts. And that so applies to our business. We don't compete on price. We fix problems that are caused by companies that compete on price.
Amen, brother.
All right. Okay, do we want to wrap up here, or do we want to go with one more presenter?
We do want to wrap up here because we're going to record another one.
All right, so stick around for the next one, because we have somebody that's actually in the property management space that did a presentation there, and you were on a panel with them, as a matter of fact, after that. And I want to dig into it because they had a lot of great insights. So we talked about some insights from a different industry that were presented, and I wanted to dig into those insights from somebody that was actually a property manager growing a really, really great business. So stick around, come back.
Are you talking about me? Or are you talking about the other guy?
I was talking. We can talk about you on the next episode too, but I was talking about the
terrible
other guy.
here.
All right, we're going to highlight two. Mark will talk about his presentation, and we'll talk about the other one.
Yes.
When we come back. So let's get him out of this aid station.
Well, let's get him out of the aid station, and I want to say this on the way out. Life's most important quest is discovering and optimizing for your unique ability and calling. No one else has your same combination of the two. When you measure yourself against somebody else, it can be just a massive distraction. So you are the only one That's where all your focus and energy should be. Run your own race. Now get out there.
Get out and out.